Hi everybody, Giselle Grenier here from artplace.ca. In this video lesson, it's going to be the first part of many smaller videos, and I'm going to be showing you how to create your own printed tissue paper, whether it's for a background or for collage. And this is one from Ranger. It's very beautiful, but it's a repetitive pattern, so you can see that the pattern repeats this way, and I love using tissue when creating backgrounds, but after a while it just starts to look so repetitive. So what I thought I would do is, I've done this before, but I thought I would show you some other ways that you can create pattern paper. And this stuff's not cheap. The quality is phenomenal, but it's not cheap. And all you need is probably some stuff you already have around the house. So these are just some random bits and bobs of pieces that I created, and they're totally unique to your own style. So although the materials I'm going to be showing you is for what I have, use whatever you have to create something totally custom to what you have. This is on deli paper, and this is also on deli paper. And deli paper you can find, I believe, on Amazon. We have a restaurant supply store here. I get it from there. This is printed on, now this is stenciled. This is stamped. I'm going to be showing you stamping. I'll give you a separate video, stamping, stenciling, and then with stenciling using fluid acrylics, traditional acrylics, glass stains, and metallics. So this is just stamped on rice paper, and there's another one stained on rice paper. So the look is very, very, very different. Where rice paper is not so translucent, you can see just a little translucent here, but deli paper is very translucent, which makes it unique and just beautiful for doing layering for backgrounds. So I'm going to put this aside, and I've got quite a few, I have no room, I have quite a few videos on how using collage material, or sorry, tissue for backgrounds. And here's one that I did with one that I created, and I used my stamps and I used some stencils, and so create something fun, and then you just can glue it onto whatever. This is just a piece of mixed media paper. You can glue it on a canvas, whatever you want, and it instantly creates some type of visual texture in the background. Also creates physical texture depending on how much layering you do. What I'm also hoping is not to talk so fast that you guys can't understand. I just want to get these videos done quickly because I'm in the middle of doing my book of backgrounds, and with all the heat waves that we're in, the construction outside, it's hard to find quiet time. Got the AC running in the background too. All right, so tracing paper. You can use tracing paper, and what you want to find is the cheapest stuff possible because it's so thin. And one way to test it out is just to grab a stencil, and you can, so that's pretty good. Okay, still thick, but it's pretty good. And this will actually hold up to quite a bit of collage and scrubbing. It won't tear apart. Okay, and this stuff, although it's not the cheapest, let me just get the pad. Should have had this ready. Okay, it's this one here, and it's again, it's not the cheapest, but I use it for something else. I thought, oh, I'll just pull this out. The actual dollar store tracing paper I have is not, it's not as translucent as this. This is actually a bit better. So just grab yourself a stencil, go to the store, grab, when you go to the store, just take something, put it behind to see how translucent it is. And this is deli paper. Nice and translucent. And then we have the rice paper. Now the rice paper is two-sided. One side's smooth, the other side is textured. Okay, not as translucent. This is also very sturdy. Then you have gift wrap tissue. Okay, so not too bad. This is great for creating, if you want to stamp or stencil with, more opaque colors, and even doing some embossing, which I'm also going to be showing in another video. Something you probably already have is napkins, paper napkins, and these are the backings. So the napkins I have are 3-ply. So for every one napkin with the pattern, there's 2 sheets like this attached to it. These are great. Doesn't cost anything. Other than buying the napkins, and Joe says, why are we going through our napkins so fast? And this is another, this is gift wrap tissue. This stuff is not so shiny, whereas this stuff here is a bit shiny, it's a bit slick. This one has a little bit more texture to it. And I pulled out quite a few pieces of this. And this stuff, this is called bleeding tissue. And it's called bleeding tissue because if it gets wet, the ink that's inside this actually dissolves, it comes out. These are great for creating tissues as well. And this is going to be a completely separate video because I want to show you how the stenciling I'm going to show, but the actual application of getting it wet and doing your background is going to be in a different video. And for this particular video, I'm going to be using stencils. So I have a whole bunch of random stencils here, and I pulled out these two here because I already created the pieces. Just wanted to show you what the stencil was. And with the this one here, you can see how you can just use something wet. And this was done with a sponge. This was fluid acrylics put on with a sponge. And this is the American Mixed Media Stencil, and it's the Bon Voyage. Yeah, I'm running out of room. And then this one here was on deli paper. And this is the Americana Decor. This is French Living. Quite a beautiful stencil, very thick. Put that aside. So let's investigate what we can do with these stencils. So I have a whole bunch of Andy Skinner stencils here, and I've got a lot of Americana stencils, and I've got some mixed media stencils. So I've got some random pieces here, and although you can do a dry fit, I just like to just stencil. Just don't waste any time, just stencil. I just want to show you what I have. And my favorite stencil, you can see how worn these are. Butterfly and a bird. So, and the one that I caught my eye, I pulled it at the last minute, were these ones here. Stencils, use whatever you have. Because it's just a background, it's not the focal point, use whatever you want. So if you bought yourself some ugly stencils or some stuff on sale, use that. These are great for tissue because then you can frame something inside. So I'll be doing that as well. So just use whatever you have. Again, it's not the focal point. So let's start first with this stuff. And I've got my piece of packing paper here, and I'm just going to, this paint gets on it, I don't care because I'm going to be using this in another art piece. So we'll start off by just taking, we'll create some frameable tissue. And let me just move this aside. It takes a little bit of prep work because you have to put these things aside to dry. And I've got a rack that Joe built for me. So the first one I'm going to do, I'll just grab this here. I'm going to use the DecoArt Traditions acrylics, which is nice and thick. This is the paint that I use for my professional painting. It is by no means as fluid as the fluid acrylics. And I'm going to grab my stencil brush. You can use foam, you can use a sponge. I'm going to be showing all that as well. And you don't want to get too much paint on there. Otherwise it'll become really stiff. And I'm going to get it right to here. And depending on how opaque or how translucent you want it, this is why it's so nice to be able to use the material that's a little bit thicker than just like thin tissue, because you can make it really, really grungy. So there's one style. So I'm going to do another one here, and I'm going to make it a little bit more opaque so you can see the difference. You can see how now I've done no prepping, dry brush. I have to reload. So I'm making this one very, very opaque. Now, using this in a background, I would tend to think that because it's going to be very strong, I would then overlay maybe additional tissue on top of this to set it back. Okay. Then I can take, I don't know if this will work, turn the stencil over. And where's oh, let's try with the brayer. I don't think the paint may not be wet enough. Yeah, I created something. It's a pattern. Now what I would also do is take a baby wipe and go over this, but the tissue may tear. Let's see what happens. I use every opportunity to create some type of texture. Yeah, it tore. To create some type of texture when cleaning my stencils. So this isn't ideal on the gift wrap, the tissue for bags, gift bags. It's not ideal for that because it's just too delicate. Okay, so that's one thing to know. And yeah, we have the tear. I don't care. It's just for a background. It's just for a background. So let's see what else we got. So we can put a frame. I can make this as rough as I want and as grungy as I want. And what else have we got? I can even take, so these are for pieces that you could actually cut out. I'll put the bird. Okay. So these are some elements that you can work with. If you wanted to create something a little bit bigger, if we wanted repeating patterns, so if I found this, one of my favorite stencils. Where's the other piece to it? I had to cut it into two pieces because it was too long. It actually is like that. Repeating patterns would typically be this would be here, then it would be here. I like to rotate, so although they will be the same type of pattern, I like to move them around so it doesn't look so much like a manufactured pattern. And this one you can scrub a little bit more because the holes are so small, but the middle one you have to be a little bit more careful. And then I can put another little one here, or how about we do a half sheet, half piece. And we'll do a little one here. So you get my point with all this, that you can create some, this is just with one stencil. I just tore the edge there. Okay, let me add the big one. And I'm going to be showing, I mean, the process is the same, but it's the materials that you use which allows you to create the really interesting designs. And I'm going to show you everything. So if you get the idea and you know what you want to do, then just skip ahead and just go ahead and do what you want. But I want to show, because there's some people that just get so frustrated with the white canvas syndrome and they don't know what to do. So I want to show you some great ideas just by turning the canvas over as well, just to change the pattern direction. Okay, and we'll put a little one here, and we'll put a little one here. We'll put a half one here. Unless you measure and measure and measure and measure and measure, you will not be able to get the same pattern on your pieces. And I should actually have put these aside to soak in water because now they're going to be hard to clean. Oh well. But let's work on a very large one. Let's go with if you want to do a full size with words and you don't want to do the stenciling, this is a great thing to do. Now, if I wanted to do a full sheet because then I can tear it to pieces, I want to find the word that I want to show in full pieces. So I like this. Actually, I lied. I want that. I want the wine, number 1, Amour, Fleur Bistro, doesn't really matter. But then again, even if I cut it into a piece, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to put the traditions aside. Now I'm going to get the fluid acrylics to show you the difference. See how much softer that is? And I'm going to put this in water, and then I'm going to get my oh, seriously, no. Okay, I'll have to find it. I'm going to get my number 8 Bristle Bright. I want to use a piece of foam. I could do a brayer on this too. So this is Payne's Gray, very, very fluid. Very, very fluid. And if I just pounce it, you get something really, really light. And with each loading, because there's more paint on there, I'll go around in different areas so it's not all dark, then it goes light, 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 light. Now this is a much larger stencil, so it'll take a little bit longer to do. And this, I don't want to really, really rush through this too fast. And this is quite a large stencil, so see, I put a lot of paint on that one. Let's see what it looks like. Well, that's actually not too bad. It's a very durable stencil, very thick. It withstands a lot of abuse. And one thing I am so guilty of is I don't clean my stencils. Not as fast as I should. This I want to make quite heavy. This could be used as a background or a focal point. So this is with the fluid acrylics. Oh, my hand's getting tired. Swirl. And you get different textures on this. Hold it steady. Yeah, that's fine. There we go. And then you can use that for whatever you want. What you can also do at this point is if you wanted to, you could stencil another element in here. Whether you use black or another color, doesn't really matter. You can just overlay. Again, it's just a background. So don't get too hung up on placement of this stuff. Okay, so that's another one. Let's work on napkin tissue. And I'll put that brush aside. let's get, whoopsie, there's our baby wipe. Let's get, this is a travel set. I love typography for backgrounds. So this one here, I'll do it right in the middle. And from here, then you can, now I'm gonna get my butterfly. Where's my butterfly? I just moved into a bigger room in the house for studio, and you know what? I still don't have enough room. Okay, I can't find it. I can't find it. Let's go with another brush. And I'm going to use transparent red iron oxide for this one. Because this is very transparent. Now this you have to be a little bit more careful. So I'm just rubbing. And because I'm just rubbing, I'm getting a lot more paint on here. So I'm getting quite a lot of visual texture, a lot of physical texture. So when it dries, you'll be able to feel it. I don't want to rub this one. Then I can go into a little bit of black. Because this is the paper napkin, very, very delicate. When you use the heavy body acrylics, the paint doesn't go underneath as much as the fluid. You see the difference? So I'm just picking the words that I want to, I guess, have it stand out. You can use a sponge for this too, and I was going to use a sponge if I could find it. And let me go back into, I'll go right back into using the same brush. And we get kind of like a dark rusty color. That one's really thick. And as I'm running out of paint, I'm just moving the brush around. Again, this is just a background. If you want to use this as your focal point, just be a little bit more careful and a little bit more time. What's really nice about using tissue as well is that you can do your stenciling and stamping and whatever, and if you don't like it, just do it on something else. Whereas if you did on your actual background, if you didn't like it, you would have to cover it over with acrylics. This way, and you can tear. So that's really cool. You can tell the paint went right through. Now let me try an experiment on this. If I took this, put it down, is it transferring? Not really. It did go through though. It did go through. And don't wait too long to do this because you don't want them to stick together. So that just creates something else that I can stencil on. There we go. So now it's a little bit more grungy. I'll put that aside. Oh, that stencil is going to be a bugger to clean. And let's see, what else have we got? I want to do now I was hoping to keep this short, but I've got a few more minutes. I want to do now a metallic. But you get the idea of what I'm doing. This is an Andy Skinner stencil made to measure. And let's do this on deli paper. Will it fit? Nope. Let's do it on rice paper. if I do that there, and then get another one, and you can overlay and overlap and do all this stuff on these stencils. So I want a border on there. I'm going to get metallic. So now I have black, I have the metallic, and I'm going to get another brush. Let me get a little dome brush. Okay, so first I'm going to do the black. You can make this as thick or as thin as you want. I'm going to be using different types of mediums to this one now. I'm going to use acrylics, an opaque acrylic, I'm going to use a translucent acrylic, and I'm going to use a metallic. And an interference as well. Oh, let's just clean off the brush. Oh, the hairs are coming out. Let's just get this all the way to here. I'm stenciling pouncing off the stencil. I don't care. Okay. Then this one here, I can take the black, and let's see if I want to do the black. My goodness, this brush is really falling apart. Okay. And let me get another clean brush, and I keep throwing the brushes in water. Let's get the ruler down here. I'm throwing the brushes in water so they don't dry out. That's the reason why the hairs are coming out, because the acrylics have been drying. My cleaning has not been very good. And you can even not, oh my God. You don't even have to pounce over everything. I'm going to take the same brush that had the transparent red iron oxide. And I'm going to go into silver. And now I'm going to go into the numbers. Reloading the brush, I'm going on every other letter. Quite thickly, although this is fluid. I want to make sure that these really stand out. And I was going every other letter because it holds the stencil down, so I don't have to have my hands in front of the camera. So you can see whatever stencil, it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna do a video on creating my own custom stencils using the scan and cut. Put that in water, and now the interference. And I need to get some more paint for this one. Now the interference is like a hologram. I'll get the fluid acrylic for this one. Change the stencil, and I'm not using the stencil, the brush that I'm putting in the water. I think I called this a stencil. If I take the brush out of the water and then stencil over, the tissue is going to get wet and it's going to be ooky. Might tear the paper. I want this one here to be almost solid. And I probably should have did a smaller brush. Nice and dark. And the interference, I'm just going to lay. Try not to rub too many times over the same spot. I can take a little bit of interference and just go on the side. This will take a bit to dry, so I'll show you what it looks like after. There you go. It's kind of cool. I'm going to turn that on its side and continue on with this one. So I'm going to take the numbers and continue on with the numbers. Actually, will that fit? Let me take the film strip. I'll just start here. So you get the point. So I'm going to just keep doing this, and you can skip ahead if you don't want to see this part. This is repetitive. There's nothing new in this part. So I'm going to make this one really grungy. I'm going to skip some areas. And I want the numbers. See if I can fill that in. And go with this one. I should be calling these stencils out. Sorry, this is burning rubber. And this is old film, Andy Skinner stencil, and I called it the other one. Get that. I'm going to go off the stencil on that one. Oops, I should have switched brushes. Reason why I should have switched the brush because the transparent red iron oxide won't be so transparent anymore with the dark color. So different patterns there. There we go. I could even do it on the side here. You do whatever you want. This is totally custom to what I want. I wouldn't be able to buy a stencil like that, or to buy tissue like that. Okay, put that aside. Oh, and the interference isn't shimmering yet. There we go, see? All right, and let's do the deli paper. I think that's the last one. And I want to do something with the Day of the Dead. Oh, I wanted to dress up like this Halloween Day of the Dead makeup for 3 years in a row, and I keep getting told no because it'll scare the kids. I think I'm going to do it this year because the kids are older. So if I take this one and let's see, do I have? No, I'll just use this one. And just use the did I want to use black? You know what we haven't tried? White. But I'm going to use translucent white. This is a semi-transparent white. Now, because this is very, very fluid with the fluid acrylics, I'm using a bigger brush to cover more ground. Deli paper is stronger. Okay, so it's not going to tear as easy as tissue. Take the white with the interference. Let's see what happens. Oh, I like that. That's very sketchy. Very sketchy looking. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that the way it is. Okay, Day of the Dead. Yeah, I'll just do it the leftover what's in the brush. So this would be good on a dark background. Okay. And if I wanted to use So I'm not going to use the whole stencil, but I can still use the pattern in the skull. There's a pattern there. I can use this one here, because you can just tear these pieces off. Put that aside. I'll use my teacup to hold it down. And let's see. Oh, this one here. Okay, put that down. I want to use this one. I'm going to be overlapping. So what I want to do with this one is I want to. I want it to be big enough. Come on. Yeah, I'm going to do this one. So I'm going to stencil. So I've got that, but I only want the bird to have that pattern. So let's try this, and I'm going to use permanent ink. This is archival ink and a little cosmetic sponge. And you can do this with paint as well. And this gives a completely different look. Because we're stenciling 2 layers. Oh, the stencil's coming. This is really rough. Because we're stenciling 2 layers, you gotta make sure you get right in there. And because there's no wet media, the stencil doesn't stick. Okay, the pattern may have been a little large. So what if we try with this? What if we try with that? No. Well, that won't be any different. If we were to, oh wait, I know what we can do. Where's the thing for this? I know what we can do. I have to get a different piece of tissue. Let's use the deli paper. Oh my goodness. I want something with a lot of pattern that's small. Small, 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 small. And this will be the last one. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it with paint. Excuse me. I'm going to do it with paint. I'll just use up the leftover transparent red iron oxide. I'm going to do this 2 ways. So this is just stenciling the bird through the stencil. Okay, with just one color. All right, that worked. Now, what I could also do, oh, let's see if I flip it around. If I stencil just transparent red iron oxide, I'm going to go for opaque coverage. So you see the stencil is actually adhering because there's paint on there. Okay. I've got that now. Remember, I had it done at this one. I flipped it, and I've got all this nice grunge now. Then I could take this with white and go right over. Let it dry though, or don't let it dry. It's an experiment. Okay, so there's all these different things that you can do. And you can flip that over. Go with the ink. And let it dry. You notice I'm not doing complete coverage on everything. I can do a little bit here where it's heavy. Okay. And that if I want to take another stencil and just do the numbers, so this is all about creating your tissue for your backgrounds. And this, although it can be used for anything, I'm doing this specifically for the book of backgrounds. I can even do the clock. I figure I'm going to do this with these stencils because they're going to take me so long to clean anyways. I'm not going to stencil the guy, Mr. Steampunk guy, going right on top of the bird. Okay, and then you can layer some more. You don't need to buy expensive stamps. You don't need to buy expensive stencils. There's just for backgrounds. And all these ones that I'm creating, I will be using them in the actual book of background design to be able to see how I apply that. In the actual lesson, when I do the book of backgrounds with this, I may set the birdie's back with some white, because I'm not liking the transparent red iron oxide with the contrast of the white, but I like the interference that's in there. But we'll let the background tell me how I want to do this. So that's it. So with some stencils, just random stencils, I mean, you can just create a whole bunch of different things that you can use in your backgrounds. And I think, is that it? Oh, this is from here. So now we have a whole bunch of these backgrounds. You can see that they're, even though I used the bird more than once, okay, it doesn't look repetitive, okay, because I used it more than once in a different way. Same thing here. Not this one, the other one. So this one here, using the numbers here and using this and this, not the guy. I use the chevrons, so you can just mix. That's my favorite one. So you can mix and match all these different things that you want to do to create your backgrounds. And then when you are done with your background, quickly show you how to do this. Oh, I found the butterfly. Oh. So if I just want to take this, and what you'll do, you can use the napkin. Oh my goodness, the napkin, decoupage napkin medium, or the paper medium. It depends on what you're going to be collaging. And you can, one or two thin layers of gesso on this if your surface is really thin. If you're doing a lot of collage, I like to put the gesso on there as well to create a barrier. And it also affects how if you only put stenciling or collaging in certain parts, it also affects how the paint wipes off. And you can see I'm having to put a lot on because the paper is absorbing it. With gesso, it doesn't do that. I just didn't want to wait for the drying time. And then I can just take this one. Letters are upside down. I don't care. It's just a background. It's just a background. Then I can take this one here. This is dry. And I can tear. And put it aside this way. And let me put a little piece of this down. This is the bleeding art tissue, just so we can add a little bit of color. And because I'm using decoupage medium, it's not dissolving. The water is what does it. And let's take a little circle, and we can overlap that. Like so. See? You just can create some really unique little pieces. And the deli paper now is starting to wrinkle, which is totally fine for me. And all these little bits and bobs create some beautiful overlapping. If you don't like how everything is wrinkling, you can take a scraper tool. This is a scraper tool from Deco Art. You can use a credit card too. I found with the credit cards though, I was tearing a lot of my tissue. This is a much softer. Oops. And the paper is also curling. And the paper is starting to bleed now. The yellow starting to come out. There we go. Okay, note to self, you must gesso your piece. There you go. Love how the yellow really makes things pop. Just makes things pop. No, not that one. And I can take the black birdie and overlap him where the other stencil was, this one here. Just put him on top of there. Look how beautiful that looks. Just over. That's the beauty of using the multiple layers. So I've got, let's see, I've got the letters, the transparent red iron oxide, I've got the bleeding tissue, and then I've got the black birdie. So that's 4 layers of collage material. And then you can, it's up to you how you want to lay stuff on there. It's up to you. So there you go. So once you've got that all collaged on there, let it dry, and then you can either then collage the outside pieces underneath or just cut it off. Completely up to you. So that's it. So I hope that you got some ideas on this. I would love to see what you've created, so feel free to email me pictures of what you created, or better yet, join our free private Facebook group and share your pictures in there and see what everybody else has been creating. My contact information and the link to the Facebook group is on my website at artplace.ca. So there you go. So although I was hoping for it to be a short video, of course, I keep getting ideas of what I want to show you. Lots of ideas. So now in the next video, what I'm going to do is focus on a particular background using stencils as well, but using metallics. It'll be one technique, and I'll be using metallics. So I'll have to do that video, and until I see you next time, stay inspired.